Welcome to Other Worlds Oracles, a show where we build fictional worlds through designing fortune telling cards. I'm Autumn, and I seek serenity from the cards. On today's show, we have invited the wonderful Jason Larock.
Hello.
And Jason, what do you seek from the cards?
I was trying to think of like a good word to kind of bring, and I think today's word would be strength.
Strength.
Mm-hmm.
That can put a lot on your shoulders, but I suppose it
Yeah,
gives you the chance to be able to hold that, so that's good.
yeah. I guess it's also like what strength means to different people can also kind of play into it. So is it physical strength? Is it emotional strength? Is it you know strength for guidance? Stuff like that. So strength is just the umbrella term, but I guess it's however you want to interpret strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to introduce you real quick here. You are, for our lovely audience here, a game dev, writer, performer, and co head of production at Nexus Games and Thesperians Productions. He's also a voice actor, including the voice of Damien Bloodmarch on Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator.
And I sure hope people know what that is. But if not, please check it out. It's very fun. I'm biased, but I'm also a fan of the game anyway.
It's a very fun game,
It's
and
really good.
we get to, hear your lovely contributions to it. So
Well, thank you.
yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about what your experience is with world building and storytelling?
Oh gosh. I think it all started with escapism. And I
Mm,
know that given just who I am as a trans queer person in the world today, being able to kind of craft the world and the environment that brings me joy, that makes me feel at home, but also kind of taking my own personal experiences to put into that as a way to share with others. I think that's kind of what world building over the years has kind of brought to me, is that ability to share facets of myself and facets of my world with
hmm
other people through worlds that they can also experience and kind of see themselves in. So
Yeah.
that's really kind of where it's led me today. And also it's just I'm the kind of person that likes to be very detailed with things in the world and just
Yeah.
kind of leave little crumbs for things, Easter eggs and things for people to pick up on. So I like doing that as a little, you know, treasure hunt for people that kind of explore my worlds and things like, writing and TTRPGs and things like that. It gives people something to explore and view and look through every facet of.
I think that's great because, like, I think about so many of the games that I've enjoyed where I can just, like, find the little bits and pieces that lead me to parts of the world I've never been to before. And it really makes it feel more lived in.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the other side of this show, besides world building, have you ever had your fortune read?
I have, but I think it was more just a hey, we have some tarot cards. Do you want to, have a reading or pull some cards and see what happens? I know I've done tarot for myself more often than other people have,
Yeah.
but it's been a long time. It's been a long time since somebody else has given me a reading.
I feel like most readings are just kind of like there's this, what do they call that when like there's a code word that like turns a spy onto their mission? Like they're
Oh, you have like a sleeper agent
yeah,
kind of
like
thing? Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
tarot readers are kind of like that where they like hear like, oh, I haven't had my reading done in a while or ever, and they're like, excellent, we are doing this right now. Here's the cards. I pulled them out of my pocket.
I have a deck in my pocket. Here we go. That's so
Exactly.
good.
I think it's interesting because I've only had my fortune read a couple times, and there's kind of a vulnerability to it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I've done tarot with other people,
hmm
I've kind of known the situations that they were coming into the space with.
hmm
So for people who don't know me and don't know,
hmm
my day to day or things that I'm struggling with at the current time, it really is they are coming into it with a blank slate. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how they're going to interpret things or what you're going to pull from it. So
Yeah.
yeah, there is that vulnerability, but there's also that mystery of, what is spirit telling them?
Mm.
What are they going to draw from it and how is that going to be applicable to whatever you're bringing to this space? So
Yeah.
I do like acknowledge that vulnerability, but I also think it's more, I don't necessarily want to say authentic is the word,
Mm,
but it's coming straight from whatever, power, whatever energy is kind of guiding their hand.
yeah.
It's more raw, I think.
Hmm.
But I guess, people could take it different ways, but I really like viewing it as, yeah, you have your familial, friends and family who are doing those kinds of readings that know you, so they know what they're looking for.
Hmm.
And then when you're doing it with somebody who doesn't know you, it's that whole new fresh perspective of, how are they going to be guided? What are they going to see? And how is that going to, I guess, either affirm what you're already thinking of when you come into it, or how is it going to draw something new to an experience that you might not be prepared for, but it's a kind of thing that you really need to hear right now.
Yeah.
So I do like that a lot. That mystery of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I was going to ask you next, do you want to have your fortune read by one of our cards?
Of course.
Wonderful. Thank you. You were free to say no, but I'm thankful you said yes. And the card that I've drawn is a card called the Eternal Whole, spelled with a W. So WHOLE. And to describe it, here's kind of what it looks like. In front of the six grandfathers, which, for those who don't know, is what the original name was of the mountains that were turned into Mount Rushmore. And so I prefer to call them by their original name. In front of the six grandfathers is a spot on Earth that exists outside of time. A cherry tree grows there that represents the various branching possibilities of the past, present, and future of the planet. Some of them are withering, but still alive, from the destruction of human hubris. Others are flowering or even fruiting from the cross pollination of diversity and connection. Underneath the ground, the roots take the form of Celtic knots, crossing and tying themselves together. The spirit of the earth, taking a form of a grizzly bear, snarls and bares its teeth at the illness harming the tree. She will survive the loss of those branches, but she takes a defensive stance to protect the rest of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so we have a lot of kind of themes here between things like balance and connection, acceptance of where we're at now so that we can provide care moving forward, and then recovery and new life.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. What do you like about that?
The thing that kind of pulled me first was the imagery.
Yeah.
Is it's very nature based.
Yes.
And comparing it to my own experiences, is this is the first year that one of the things that my polycule and I have been talking about recently is self-sustainability.
Hmm.
And one of the ways that we wanted to try and do that with the shifting economic space is garden, to
Mm.
try and see if we could provide for ourselves
Yeah.
at least a little bit.
Hmm.
And over the last couple of years, we've tried different things. We've tried, starting with simpler things like herbs and spices and things like that. But it
Hmm.
just, the consistency wasn't there. Just kind of keeping track of what the different plants needed and things like that. It just didn't, nothing came of it. So this was the first year that I decided, I'm going to stick to a schedule. I'm going to stick to a routine. And we have a garden plot out in our backyard that kind of came with the property. And we planted some things, just we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And every morning, go out, water the plants. Every afternoon, go out and see how they're doing, if they need more water, things like that. And we managed to get some really nice plants for snap peas.
Yeah.
And I connect snap peas a lot with my late grandfather.
Hmm.
He had a garden, he grew peas, and he would take my sister and I out to go, and he would, show us how to pick them off the plant, how to pop them open, and we would just eat them right out of the pod in his garden. So it's a very familial, very nostalgic kind of thing. So having snap peas be the most bountiful crop that we were able to grow, I do see a lot of that in the connection of nature and having things grow and being that new beginning of, I'm taking this experience that in a way died with me pre-transition,
Mm.
of having that, grandfather and granddaughter relationship, and taking that into a new space of, I am the one doing the growing. I am the one who's kind of continuing my grandfather's, memory of providing for my family. And I
Hmm.
guess in a similar way, when you said that this bear, that's this energy, this maternal energy, I also see that as like a connection with, me doing this to feed my family and doing this as a show of love and strength and love. I guess love. Yeah, love's the big thing
Yeah.
here. I'm seeing a lot of love, and Celtic knots is like the roots are strong.
Yeah.
They're crisscrossing, but they're cemented in place.
Hmm.
There's no way that that tree is going anywhere, even though
Hmm.
that there are those withering branches. There are new ones that are flowering, that are fruiting, and that's what this bear I took as protecting.
Yes.
And even though there is that rot in there at its core, there's still hope for that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I see that a lot in just the everything of like, this is the space that is yours.
Hmm.
This is the space that you're protecting, that you're cultivating. There is, trials, there are tribulations, there are things that kind of, yeah, some things have to die out in a way. Some things have to
Hmm.
be left behind in order for new things to kind of take their place.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love all of that because I can definitely see myself in that space. I can definitely see how that applies to my life. And I think that was a really great pick. I think that was a really great card.
Yeah, thank you. And, my friend Dee and I worked on this card, and it's really brought us to kind of this thought about the greater us, this kind of
Mm-hmm.
royal we, and how where do we fit in the past, the present, and the future? And,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of have this baton pass from those who have come before us, and we're hopefully trying to get it to the next one
Mm-hmm.
without dropping it
Yeah.
too bad. uh,
Yeah.
um, and also, you talking about the garden really makes me think about my own experiences of I've started trying to garden this year as well, and I how do we frame this positively? I am not good at it yet.
I'll be honest, I didn't think I was either. Like I can't even keep succulents alive. Like
Yeah.
that's how bad it is. So I think it's a mixture of the mindset of going
Hmm.
into it, just seeing what happens,
Hmm.
the desire to kind of follow through with the upkeep.
Hmm.
And I know that scheduling for myself is a difficult thing, but
Yeah.
it's once you make it habit, once you make it routine, once you make it part of like your day,
Yeah.
I think that's your relationship with the, I guess, what you're trying to grow as like a
Mhm.
commitment of, you are part of my day.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great, I guess, metaphor for relationships as well.
Yes.
Just kind of thinking about it is, making it part of your routine, making it part of like what makes you function,
Hmm.
and making relationships and kind of how you foster them and how you kind of grow them, making that your schedule and your habits and your routines kind of lends itself well to growing plants as well as growing, relationships with your
Yeah.
loved ones.
Well, I think nature provides us with so many rich metaphors, but
Mm-hmm.
the living experience of being in a relationship, I think, is an organism. Like a relationship is a living thing, and as above, so below, right? Like we can go up and up and up between people being parts of a relationship, being parts of a community, being parts of a broader community and all that sort of thing, but we can also work our way down of like relationships within ourselves and relationships within those relationships and everything, just kind of nesting doll, this matryoshka, kind of all the way down. And
Mm-hmm.
I just find that beautiful.
Yeah, because the relationship with yourself is the basis for all other relationships that you kind of, how you branch out into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so starting with yourself is, yeah, self-love. Self-love is a huge thing, especially right now.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a radical act.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You know what else is a radical act? Making a card.
Yeah, that's the most radical thing I can think of right now.
We love a good segue. But yeah, let me explain to the audience real quick how this is going to work. So we're going to design a card similar to the ones in a tarot or oracle deck with three main characteristics: a setting, a main character called the Arcana, and some kind of artifact called the Symbol. We will draw cards with prompts and assign them to each characteristic, giving us a direction to start in. From there, we will build on each concept until we have fleshed out a story combining all three elements. We will then determine what the card will look like and what its meanings could be. Ready to get started?
Oh, yes. I'm so excited.
I'm also excited because I was finally able to print out the cards that everyone up to this point suggested at the end of their episodes. So
Ooh.
our deck is
Oh, great.
nice and tasty and toothsome. So we have plenty of cards here.
Oh, I love that sound. That's such a good sound.
Yeah, so let's see. Ready for the first card?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Oh, okay. We have Crescendo, and there's a picture
Ooh.
of a conductor here, a music conductor. Do you want to make that the setting, arcana, or symbol?
Hmm. I'm going to have to go with symbol
Symbol. Okay.
on this.
I like that.
Yeah. I'd love to use sound for a
Yes.
symbol.
I really like that. Okay. Second card.
Let's go.
Leap, like a jump.
Oh.
Setting or arcana.
Let's see.
Could be good in either.
I know. Okay. I'm envisioning it for a location.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm thinking specifically a tall overlook. So sometimes if you're driving through back roads and you see those signs where it's like a lookout point,
Mm-hmm.
something like a lookout point along a road on a mountaintop, or
Okay.
like a foresty lookout, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Let's see. And what is our arcana going to be? Well, this is very exciting when it's the arcana. Peace.
Ooh. Yeah. And then for the arcana, yeah, I'm seeing like a person by themselves, but that
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that they're alone.
Yeah.
So that could easily play into the symbol of sound,
Mm-hmm.
of, the sound of nature, the sound of birds, the sound of, rushing water if there's a waterfall nearby, wind, maybe there are cars driving past you. You stop to go check out this lookout, but there's still life and other people behind you, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the peace of being with yourself for a moment.
Yeah. Well, that's our card. Great. Anyway, no.
Yeah, there we go. All done. Nailed it.
Which one do we want to start with for like really building out the detail of? It sounds like you have a really rich idea of the environment at the very least. Maybe we could build on that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's jump into, well, jump, leap.
Yeah.
Let's leap right into where we are.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like how to flesh out, cuz I could see it so vividly.
Yeah, tell me about it. What does it bring to mind?
I can see it's a very familiar place.
Hmm.
There's a road in rural Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the name of it, and it's probably branching off of a highway somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a road that kind of goes along this path towards, there's like a town on this like mountaintop.
Mm-hmm.
And as you kind of come around this road towards the bridge that crosses over into this town, there's this beautiful view
Mm-hmm.
over a highway, and there's, this kind of slope down on one side on the hill that you're on, and it kind of slopes up on the other where this town is. And in the fall, you can see all of the trees kind of shifting hues between the oranges, the reds, the yellows. And it's this really nice gradient of, you are in this valley
Mm-hmm.
overlooking color.
Yeah.
You're just overlooking change. You're overlooking light and how magical this space can be, even though you're, on a road, you're on a highway, you can hear cars down the freeway.
Yeah.
But, when, the windows are rolled up or you're kind of separated from that, it's such a beautiful thing to look at. So having that space of, maybe there's a spot in an environment like this
Mm-hmm.
where you can pull off to the side and kind of get out, and maybe there's a bench,
Mhm.
and you can walk over and you can sit down on this bench, and it's just you in this space,
Mhm.
you in this ever-changing environment, no matter what season it is. That is the spot to see the shifting of the seasons.
Yeah.
And you can look out and you can take in all that's there, all the snow, all of the, the flowers, all of the, evergreens, all of the changing colors. Maybe maybe it's a really nice day and there are no clouds in the sky, so it's just you and you can feel the sun. Or maybe it's cloudy and you can kind of feel the warmth of the sun, but there's a pleasant breeze as well. So
Mhm.
you can also just enjoy how temperate everything is.
Yeah.
And it's that moment of, where are you in time?
Mhm.
Where are you going to be in time?
Yeah.
Where are you moving to? Where are you coming from? What is what is the path that you're on? What path are you taking? And taking this moment of, introspection to stop and evaluate.
Yeah.
Where are you? What are you feeling? Where are you going? What do you need to do? Is this something that you're comfortable doing by yourself?
Mm.
So that piece of mind,
Yeah.
piece of being, but knowing that, there could be people in the car and you've
Mhm.
gotten out of the car to just take a moment by yourself and you'll be returning to them soon.
Yeah.
So are you at peace now? Do you need to go back to, the people in your life and find peace with them? Do you need them to help you find peace? Taking time to tell them what you were thinking about while you were in that space, while you were in that mindset.
Yeah.
And, taking that leap of faith
Yes.
in yourself or in the people you're surrounding yourself with, your community, your family, your loved ones, your friends, and making the conscious effort to move forward.
Yeah. I think leap of faith is a really interesting turn of phrase because, like, you can't half-ass it because
Mm-hmm. No.
you just gotta go. And like, there's a lot of courage in that, of being able to just believe that wherever I land, I'm gonna be able to either get there, get back up, keep moving, whatever it might take, whatever comes
Mm-hmm.
next.
Yeah, and I love how you say you got to keep going,
Yeah.
because in that space, seeing the shifting seasons,
Mhm.
time keeps going forward. Time is not necessarily on everyone's side, but
Yeah.
it's, things are going to change, things are going to happen, and how are you going to move into that change?
Yeah.
So that leap of kind of flowing with time
Yes.
and going along with how things are happening and how are you approaching them.
Yeah.
We can't control what happens, but we can control how we react to those things.
Sure. Yeah.
So seeing that as time is going to mess us up or play well with us, but
Mhm.
how do we react to that? How do
Yes.
we kind of go with the flow, or how do we take what time has given us and kind of make that into our own?
Mhm.
So I definitely like how you brought that up, because yeah, time waits for no one, unfortunately.
I mean, you think about time flowing. I bring up this kind of picture of a river
Mm-hmm.
because, you can either swim upstream and try your best, and it's gonna
Yeah,
you're gonna
it's gonna
have
be
to
tough.
either really work hard and then eventually have to stop, or you can go with the flow and see where that takes you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes the journey is also just as exciting,
Hmm.
and seeing where that river takes you.
Yeah. And there's something nice about, like, nothing is forever,
Mm-hmm.
because that means that when things are tough, that we can know, okay, this is a leaf on the river that will pass us eventually. We're using all these
Mm-hmm.
kind of therapy terms, I guess, but, like, there's something very sweet about knowing the context. Do you think there's peace in context?
There could be, yeah. There could be. I know for I guess context could also be something of, I guess, a symbol or, placement
Mm-hmm.
for like retrospect, like seeing things in retrospect.
Yeah.
Or if you've experienced something, I was just having a conversation yesterday that something that happened to somebody when they were a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and that was, the lowest point in their life.
Yeah.
But now as an adult looking back, because that happened, that's led them to having this whole different outlook on life. And if that hadn't happened, they wouldn't have met certain people, and that wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have inspired them to do certain things or go certain places, or focus on themselves, or taking time to heal and things like
Yeah.
that. So there is, I guess, a sense of peace in knowing that because of the struggle of yourself in the past, it's afforded you where you are now, and
Yeah.
your peace of mind, or maybe your peace of being, you're in a safer place, you're with people
Mm-hmm.
that are, a support system or a sense of safety and comfort. And without, that moment in time when things didn't look so great,
Mm-hmm.
having that time to kind of flow down the river, so to speak, has given him the peace of change and the peace of, I've come out of that, and now I can see the whole picture. I can
Yeah.
see what that was setting me up for.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely.
Like I can see, like when we're in this kind of first person situation that we're in, being, you know, a person, uh you
Mm-hmm.
can't see yourself fully unless you're looking
Mm-hmm.
at something else and you have some distance from it. Like if you, even if you're like mirror directly to your face, like you still can't see yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have distance, and like time gives us that distance, I think.
Yeah. There's also the aspect of it. You could be the person in the car.
Mm-hmm.
You could be experiencing somebody that you know taking this time
Mm-hmm.
and finding themselves and where they are in their life,
Yeah.
and knowing that eventually they're going to come back to the car, or they're going to come back to wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you know you were in a spot where you witnessed this becoming,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a really huge and vulnerable thing for somebody who's out there with their back to you.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking in everything around them, and you're keeping an eye on them,
Mm-hmm.
especially because this lookout could be, a tall cliff.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, you know, a body of water close to a river, close to a waterfall, something like that. And you're there in case they need you.
Yeah.
The two different ways you could go about it is you are the person, out there looking around and you have that first person view,
Mm-hmm.
or you're the person kind of standing back watching this experience happen to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, can it be both? Like in the card, have like this. I keep thinking of like a sensible sedan.
A family car.
Yeah. And then like this person a little distance away from it looking over this expanse you were talking about of these trees. Do you think there's a waterfall or a river or something there too?
Yeah, I can see a river kind of flowing alongside and kind of disappearing over the edge
Yeah.
as well. So there are multiple forms of movement
Yeah.
going on there.
I like that. What does the person who is outside look like?
It's hard to picture because that could be anybody.
Yes.
I want to believe that this image, that's because I know the card is just a stagnant image. So
Mm-hmm.
this moment that we are seeing,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's either spring or fall.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real need for any kind of heavy clothing,
Mm-hmm.
or clothing that's just really, the summer clothes of, short sleeves, short shorts. So it's that mixture of, maybe they're wearing long pants and a short sleeve shirt. So
Mm-hmm.
there is that vulnerability to the elements where you can feel the sun and you
Mm-hmm.
can feel the wind on your skin, but at the same time, there is that safety of you're still out in the elements, so covering your legs for, ticks or branches or thorns or things like that. So you're exploring what's out there with caution, or you're
Hmm.
being cautious in a way that's not so restrictive.
Hmm.
It's like a healthy respect for dangers and possible deterrence.
Yeah. So there's this this landscape has within it the potential for a very dangerous, like, the setting has this opportunity to leap off and to jump into something.
Mm-hmm.
But prudence would suggest perhaps that is not what you have to do every time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can just take a second to take it all in.
Yeah, for sure. Because sometimes not immediately going for it is just as smart an idea as, going in and seeing what happens.
Hmm.
So that conscious, I guess, awareness of the possible what ifs, but
Hmm.
in a way that isn't so restrictive.
Yeah.
Because I know that the possibility to jump into what if as a form of spiral into anxiety, I speak from experience, but having the what ifs as an overarching, the what ifs aren't the what wills.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know why I'm thinking of this. Maybe it's because I walked with a cane for many years, but for some reason I'm picturing this person with some sort of mobility aid, and I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I like that idea, and I also like that mixed with a place to sit.
Yeah.
So it could be a, if you need to take that time,
Hmm.
then there is a spot for you.
Yes.
And this is, uh, it's all kind of percolating. It's all happening because I just had a conversation with somebody the other day that was
Uh-huh.
kind of intervention esque
Hmm.
in a way that they've been struggling with disabilities recently,
Yes.
and they're very new to having disabilities that
Hmm.
are impacting day to day things.
Yeah.
And so having that intervention, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It's great. God, the conversation of like, please rest if you need to.
Hmm.
Like, when your body says rest, do it.
Yeah.
And don't like feel guilty about it either.
Hmm.
Like, I know like guilt is such a big thing, especially with being in an environment in a society that's so go go go. You have to do things in order to be deemed worthy of having nice things or living in a nice place or things like that.
Hmm.
And just having that conversation where they felt this immense guilt
Yeah.
of, I have to rest, so I feel like I'm letting you down because I can't do it.
Oh, goodness.
And we were like, no, that's the fact that we're telling you to rest is because your like health and your ability to get through the day without feeling pain or discomfort, or like, that is our biggest priority. Like, we can sort out the rest, but please, like, let this be your time to figure out what you're feeling.
Yeah.
What do you need? Figure out what you need, because this is new to you. This is new to us too. So we're here to make sure that that like you have this support system. You have this support group that will always find a way.
Yeah.
So if you need to sit, if you need to eat a snack, if you need to, put things off until tomorrow, that's okay. Just
Hmm.
let us know that that's what you're doing
Yeah.
so that we can step in and help.
Yeah.
And I think that the environment and the vision of somebody with a mobility aid and a chair and
Mm.
having, loved ones waiting for them to come back,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Hmm.
That is that vision of, there are people waiting for when you're ready.
Yeah.
When you're ready to push on and when you're ready to leap back into it,
Mm.
there are people waiting. And the thing is, with that car, with those people in that car, the person who's outside might not be the one driving.
Yeah.
They could be a passenger in that car.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a spot in any one of those other chairs for them.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be a they were driving and this person asked, "Hey, can we pull over for a second?
Mm-hmm.
I need a moment. I need time to just be for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't keep going at the speed that you guys are going. So I need this."
Yeah.
And they pulled over for them. They
Yeah.
pulled over to let them out, to let them, handle what they need to handle, to sit if they need to, be by themselves, to find that peace.
Yeah.
And when they're ready, they can come back and the trip will continue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I'm so glad that you mentioned seeing that, because that it kind of brings it together.
Yeah, I think so. Like, is this person just sitting on the bench with like hands on like the top of a cane, or like in a wheelchair, or maybe have some sort of braces, or there's a lot of options visually that we could kind of go with, but
I can see them with a cane in hand standing in front of the chair.
yeah.
So it's that they have that aid with them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's helping them to stand and helping them to be where they are,
Yeah.
but that chair is available if they want to
Mm,
sit.
yeah.
So it's that choice for them where it's like the disability isn't gone, that it's
Mm-hmm.
something that they have and that's with them, but they still have that choice of what they want to do for themselves.
Yes.
So the choice of, do I need to sit, and do I need to, give a moment to my disability? Do I need to allow myself that time to feel what I'm feeling, and to, not have to worry about moving and going for a second,
Yeah.
and just not necessarily let the disability win, but acknowledge that it's there.
Mm-hmm. I think there's also this kind of vibe of like the difference between what do you need and I'm here whenever you need me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like they're different, and I'm not saying either of them is bad, but like they have different meanings to them, even though they're
Yeah.
offering something very similar.
Yeah. I do like the it is there for you.
Yes.
And it's you are the person that makes the choice.
Mm-hmm.
That the person that's standing out there is the one that is ultimately the decider in all things.
Yeah.
So they're the focus. They can choose what they're looking at in the environment. They can choose whether they want to be seated or standing.
Mm-hmm.
But the cane is the one thing that will go with them.
Yeah.
That chair is there in that space.
Mm-hmm.
The environment is there, but the cane is the thing that they're going to be bringing with them,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're standing, sitting, or in the car.
Yeah.
So that will be there with them regardless. But
Yeah.
the chair is there in the space for them should they need it.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are in the car with them are there should they want to return to them, or if they need to go back at some point. The car is there
Mm-hmm.
for when they want to move on or they want to move forward.
Yeah.
So everything is there for this person to choose how they interact with them and what
Yeah.
that means to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful image. It's so beautiful.
I like it a lot. How do we include crescendo into the symbol?
Hmm. Kind of in line with, I guess, what I'm pulling from. Crescendo could be the height of this situation.
Mm.
So this could be the tallest point on their journey.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the moment in this person's life that they can't ignore.
Yeah.
This is that loudest moment or that loudest issue that's coming to them as a you can't ignore me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but if you keep going, it's going to be too much.
Yeah.
So you need to take this time. You need to step out of the car. You need to go and find yourself again.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find that peace with yourself or with the situation or with
Yes.
the moment. So that the loudness isn't necessarily a sound,
Mm.
but it's the crescendo of I guess, the soul, the spirit,
Yeah.
the loudness of activity, or the loudness of life.
Yeah. Your
And
thoughts, your
so
feelings.
it's the combating that noise.
Yes.
And this is a space that at the highest point of that noise, you find peace, or you
Mm.
find a way to organize your thoughts, or you find a way to look at everything kind of spread out in front of you, the whole situation, everything that you're feeling, look at it and acknowledge that it's there, acknowledge that it's affecting you,
Mm-hmm.
and then where do you want to go? What do you want to tackle? You see it all here. You see every little moment that's kind of upset you recently, or every thing that's kind of piling up, or all of the things that you kind of feel on your shoulders as a responsibility. Maybe this person's wearing a backpack.
Mm.
Maybe it's the weight of the things that they've been carrying recently.
Yeah.
And it's not only weighing them down, but they took it out of the car with them.
Mm-hmm.
They took this package out with them, this luggage, this bag that's carrying everything that they need or maybe don't need.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about that bag? What are you going to do about the stuff that's in that bag?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you can leave there
Yeah.
on the hill to make your bag lighter? Is there any way that you can repack the stuff that's in the bag? Is there, do you need somebody else to carry the bag? Do you need somebody to kind of come out and help you sift through it? Do you need them to put some of the stuff in that bag into their own for a minute
Mm-hmm.
so that things are lighter, things are more manageable? But there's that space to do that. There's that space to take all of the heavy that is on you
Yeah.
and either lighten it up or rearrange it, or I guess kind of question, why am I carrying this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have this on my bag? Why do you have this in my bag?
Yeah. What serves you?
Exactly. And so the kind of peak of all of it,
Mm.
the crescendo being the peak of, standing for all of the different things that the peak or the top of something could mean,
Yeah.
or the final, crescendo to something that
Yeah.
either explodes, or I know in music sometimes the crescendo leads to just a moment of silence.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's this build up and then it stops.
Yeah.
And then the music kind of comes back and it's soft again, because it's
Mm-hmm.
that build up before just a moment of breath.
Yeah. Release.
And that I see that this is the moment of release. This is the moment of either relief, or it could lead into that breaking point, and again that choice
Mm-hmm.
of, you can choose what you want to go towards. You can choose how you want to approach the situation, or if you don't know what to choose, there's people there to help make that choice,
Yeah.
or to kind of bounce ideas off of and see what's, what'll benefit you,
Mm-hmm.
and how it'll help move on and move forward and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I went into it with, crescendo being sound, but it's like, no. Crescendo is
Building.
the feeling of it, the building feeling.
Yeah. I think so too. So we have this kind of visual of the card. There's a car waiting by the side of the road. Is that right? Like this lookout point.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing it in three parts. Like a
Yes.
foreground, a middle ground, and a background.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
And in the foreground, it's, I guess, the car.
Yes.
So you can see kind of like the top of the car, some of the windows, so maybe you can
Mm-hmm.
see the silhouettes of people inside. And the mid ground or the middle ground
Mm-hmm.
is this person
Yeah.
standing on this like precipice with
Mm-hmm.
a bench or a chair. Maybe it's I'm trying to think if it looks white to me. I don't know if it's like a white wood, or like a white like painted metal, or something about it is this white.
Mm-hmm.
And along the side is kind of like a river or a stream,
Mm-hmm.
kind of coming into view, kind of swirling around and going off of the edge. And then in the distance, it's just trees.
Yeah.
So it's that expanse. So, like, what is beyond is infinite.
Mm. Yeah.
And everything's very green.
Mm-hmm.
So there's life there.
Yeah.
Nothing's dying. Nothing's in this state of change at the moment. It's
Mm.
this moment in time where it's like everything is alive
Mm.
and it's here, but it's that moment before change
Yeah.
or before progress or before renewed time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that visual. We've kind of touched on a lot of different possible meanings. What do you think you would bring into an interpretation of this card if you pulled it and someone was asking you what it meant?
I think I would probably start with allowing them the space to take a moment to think about where they are.
Hmm.
Not necessarily space wise, but where are you in your life right now? What are some things that feel like they're preventing you from moving forward? What are some things that you feel are weighing you down emotionally, physically, mentally? And then I would probably ask them, do you need a moment to be? Do you need a moment to think about your life? So it would be a time to, well, I give them a moment of introspection because, like we said, this card can have a billion different meanings and different interpretations. But I think having that moment of introspection can kind of give them the moment to see what they need to
Hmm.
out of the card. So I really like giving, at least for when I do readings or when I pull tarot, I like to give multiple different meanings for what it could be to let the person who's sitting there interpret it themselves. Because I
Yes.
think, well, I could give them what I see. I think it's a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that it's what they need to see from it, or it's what the message that's coming out for them. So giving them that moment of introspection to kind of assess, and then telling them the different kinds of things that this card could mean, and seeing if that applies to what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what their headspace is, what's going on beyond the space that we're in currently, and then kind of give them the descriptions and the meanings of the things that are there for them. So the things that are, available, the friends or loved ones in the car, the chair, the mobility aid, the river with, time moving on and things moving into this next stage, or, the shifting of the seasons that's coming up for whatever season that would be, and how this moment in time is for them. This space is for them. And that if there is a moment while we're just sitting there looking at this card, for them to take that first step towards a moment. Maybe they're in the car right now. Maybe they need to make that choice to ask to pull over, and just letting this card be a moment of reflection and giving them that time to connect with themselves for a moment and just feel what they need to feel before, if we're pulling another card or if they're moving on from this space, that they walk away from it having not necessarily a plan of action, but it's their metaphorical stepping into the vehicle again,
Mm.
and just moving from that space with an idea of what they need for themselves and
Yeah.
what they can ask for, what they can do for themselves in that moment, and letting that card be a food for thought kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just a, hey, this is just a sign that you need to take a second.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because there's a lot happening, there's a lot going on, you're carrying a lot, or you just don't know how to handle it all. So before things get too noisy, before things get too loud or too heavy, you know, please assess.
Yeah.
Please sit. please take that load off for a moment, because it's okay, and you will be okay. But having that time with yourself, or having that time to gauge where you're at, that's the only way to move forward without crashing. Because if you don't take a moment, your body will make sure that you take a moment.
I always say that if you don't take your car to the shop, it takes itself to the shop.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And I know, speaking of, experiences with, knowing people and having people in my life that, struggle with disabilities, that will make them sit down if they need to sit down, that, your mind and your body and the world around you will find a way to to make you sit and stop for a second.
Yeah, and you can do it on your terms, or you can do it because you have to.
Yeah. And there are people in your life that, if you're not stopping, they will stop you.
Hmm.
They will stop you, and they will tell you because they love you. They
Yeah,
want you to stop, and they want you to be okay.
yeah,
But having that choice to do it for yourself, it kind of loops back to what we were saying earlier. Like, self-love is the most radical thing,
hmm,
and self-care, and doing what you need to do in order to, not feel pain,
yeah,
or to not be overwhelmed
yeah,
anymore. And that's, it's a learned thing to do. It's not something that comes easily, but it's something that, once you acknowledge it and once you work towards making that part of your daily care or your weekly care, doing that before it gets too bad.
yeah,
Because once you get to that highest and or lowest point, it's harder to kind of move from that than if you make it a regular thing of just check-ins
hmm,
or assessments or moments to breathe.
yeah,
Because starting small, moments to breathe, works up to some big personal changes.
definitely. What do we want to call this card?
Ooh, that's a good one. The first word that came to me was breathe.
Mm,
Breathe or breath.
most of the cards we've done so far, well, all of them, have started with the, and so the breath, the breather,
Hmm.
the rest stop.
Okay, so if it's a noun, how about the lookout? We could do the lookout.
Ooh, yeah. Does that feel like the one?
Yeah,
Okay, the lookout.
yeah, the lookout.
Because you're looking out over all this expanse, but also inward and
Mm-hmm.
also behind you to the people who are there for you.
Yeah, it's the
And they're looking out for you.
yeah. So there's many different ways for things in this image to look and to see.
Yeah,
I like that.
absolutely. I like that too. I think we have a card.
I think we do.
I'm
I think we do.
very happy with that. I like that. Thank you so much for helping me with all this and for making such a beautiful card.
I'm really glad that I could do it. I was not expecting it to go this way, but I'm really glad that it did.
Yeah. It is always interesting to me because I've had a couple people come on and they're like, I had a plan. It didn't work, but it did work its own way.
Yeah, which is funny because I also kind of came in with an idea and a plan, like, oh, okay, I'll just do this. And nope, nope, that is not how it went at all. It is not where it went.
And yet we ended up where we needed to be.
Yeah, that's the beauty of doing things like this.
Yeah.
It's no matter what you kind of come into it with, it's going to find a way to give you exactly what you need, or
Yeah.
exactly what you need to see or need to know.
Yeah. Exactly. I have one more request if that's okay.
Sure, go for it.
Can you help me pick 3 new one word cards for the prompt deck?
Sure. So are we picking them, or am I coming up with them?
You're coming up with whatever one word vibe
Ooh, one word vibes. I
you
like
would
it.
like, and 3 of them.
Okay. Ooh, the first one that I thought of is I looked up and it's raining outside, so
Uh huh.
downpour is one of them.
Downpour. That's good. Yeah.
So downpour is one of them. Let's think of another one. How about celebrate?
Mm-hmm.
Is could be another one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, remember.
Remember. Yeah.
especially just with this being Pride Month when we're recording this.
Yeah.
Remembering where we came from,
Hmm.
remembering why we're here, remembering who we are.
Yeah.
Memory is very important,
Yeah.
and it's such a powerful thing.
It's time travel.
Yeah. So remembering your memory is another one.
Yeah. Awesome. I love those.
Yeah.
One more question for you, which is where can people find you and your work?
Oh boy. Well, you can follow me on most social medias at J underscore son, SON, Larock, which is just my name because I'm original. And if you want to see more of my work or kind of get in touch with me about doing fun projects, or if you're looking for fun, cool graphic designs for your own projects, you can check out my stuff on my website, which is just jasonlarock.com. It has all the stuff that you need to know there. It has a bunch of resume stuff for projects that I've worked on. If you really want to play Dream Daddy and don't know where to buy it, it's there. Shameless plug because I love Dream Daddy. But also, there are fun projects and things that you can watch and listen to for free as
Hmm.
there as well. So I love sharing art for free. So there are podcasts and videos and stuff like that on my website that you can watch and enjoy for no cost at all. And there's also ways to contact me there as well. So emails and links and stuff like that will all be on the website, and you're welcome to go check it out and enjoy the art that I have to share.
I'm excited to have people go see some of that.
Me too.
Thank you so much again for coming on. I really appreciate your time and all the amazing things that you're able to make this contribution both to the prompts and also to this deck. And thank you so much for just bringing you as well.
Thank you for inviting me. This was such a delight. This was a great time and really gives me a lot to think about, kind of stepping away from this as well. So it was well needed.
And that brings us to the end of our show. A huge thanks to our wonderful guests. You can find us at our usual places on your favorite podcast app or at otherworldsoracles.podbean.com. Thanks for joining us. And remember that magic is creation and creation is magic. Take care.